So Sirfetch'd is really interesting for Master Premier Cup. So some people ask, like, hey, can you do, like, I'm gonna do Sirfetch'd for like every league, but Master Premiers, I actually don't know, to be honest with you, but we're gonna find out today on this video. So Sirfetch'd, of course, the mighty and majestic, very long, and I don't know if a leak is I really, very long, very pointy, but mostly very long. That's an impressive size, and that is the look of destruction. Anyways, I have sold Sirfetch'd to you, but Sirfetch'd maxes out at 2985. It has a very high attack and defense, and not very high attack and defense, but high attack. Subpar defense and stamina, and because it maxes out at 2985, I don't know if it's actually getting good for Master Premier, but we can take a look, because this thing has a very interesting moveset. Now, of course, with weaknesses, with a pure fighting type, it's essentially Machamp. It's like a Machamp that has Leaf Blade. So you're going to run away from Charmers. You want to run away from all your Charmers. You want to run away from all those Dragonites, because Dragonite's probably going to take your soul, because it's also a flying type. Hurricane will yeet you to the next dimension and blow you into the next continent, if there is a continent next to you by the time you're done with the battle. Anyways, you also take those Psychic users. You don't see a lot of Psychic in Master Premier. I would say probably like Psychic Metagross. That's probably the best you'll see. But you don't see a lot of Confusion users, which, because you don't see a lot of Confusion users, and your biggest threat for weaknesses is probably Togekiss, Sirfetch'd might be really good for Master Premier. Now, you do resist a slew of, like, other things. Well, not really. You resist those Night Slashes from Haxorus. I don't see a lot of, like, dark typing moves. You do resist Smackdowns, however, so those Rhyperiors that are trying to end your soul or throw rocks at you, or those Smackdown T-Tars, you do very well against them. And also those Bug types, which you don't see a lot of Bug either in Master Premier Cup. Basically, you don't see a lot of its resistances, and the biggest thing you're probably going to have to worry about is definitely Togekiss. Now, what makes Sirfetch'd really interesting is it has such a deep moveset, and it's also, well, anything that's going to be level 40 that you're going to max out for Premier Masters is just really expensive. So expect to spend hundreds and thousands of dust to power up and build your Sirfetch'd. It also has a it's solid gold. If you get the shiny, I'm very jelly, because that's a golden duck shiny. It's so cool. So when a shiny comes out, get it. That's basically all I have to say. But Sirfetch'd has potential. We'll take a look at more at the Matrix and just the rankings to see if Sirfetch'd can actually break the meta for Master Premier, or be really dominant and interesting. Alright, so welcome to the Master Premier Cup analysis, and how the hell is this damn bird at number 22? Look at those leads. This thing is actually pretty dang good. If you look at what it beats Metagross, Snorlax, Magnezone, Swampert, and Rhyperior in the 2 shield. In the 2s. Very powerful as a lead, very powerful as a closer. Not so much as a switch. I don't think you want to switch this into a Gyarados or a Dragonite for sure. And it loses against Machamp. And remember what I said about Togekiss? Yeah, Togekiss kills it really hard. But Sirfetch'd is really good for Master Premier Cup if you can line it up correctly. In the lead, it actually breaks the top 13. Beats Metagross, it beats Giant Daddy Lax. Giant Electric UFO gets yeeted to oblivion. Ground Frog's got nothing on you. Dr. Robotnik gets yeeted. But its weaknesses, you do see a lot of Gyarados, Dragonite. All of its key losses, you do see a lot of those. But we'll see just how good it is. Like, once we go deeper in it, but still, number 13, that's really good. In the closing scenario, Sirfetch'd is at number 22, being able to take down Swampert, Big Daddy Lax. Machamp does get yeeted in the 0s. It does win the 2s, but it loses with no shields. beats it beats Rhyperior and Mamoswine. It loses against a lot of it. Of course, it's Togekiss gonna kill it, but in the zeros, it will lose to Magnezone. So these shield scenarios are going to be really interesting. I can already tell that this analysis for the Matrix is just going to be really interesting. Of course, you don't want to use that as a switch. Now, the thing is, if they do switch into you with a Metagross, Magnezone, etc., or Snorlax, you can kind of use Sirfetch'd as like an anti-save switch. Because it picks up that matchup against Swampert, it might actually be really decent. But we'll take a look in the analysis for the Matrix short. Alright, so here's the Matrix. I put literally every freaking moveset you can, because why not? Let's explore all of the counter movesets. You want counter. Don't use Fury Cutter. You don't get stabbed, and because Sirfetch'd doesn't have it's essentially a glass cannon, you won't live to a lot of Leaf Blades. Plus, counter generates a lot of energy. It's one of the best fast moves in game, and that's why Sirfetch'd is so strong. So, big leak sword thingy. Here's the 2 shield. We hit battle, and we get... You win the 2 shield. You win in the lead versus Charizard. You actually beat Garchomp? You beat Garchomp with 2 shields? Oh, that's the Earthquake variation though. So if they're not running double nukes, then you lose to Garchomp. You also beat Glaceon. Well, Ice is weak to fighting, so that's pretty obvious. You will lose against things like Gyarados. Haxorus actually beats you even though it's a pseudo fighter. You beat both versions of Magnezone, Mamoswine, Metagross, Rhyperior. Holy crap, that's a really long list. That's a long list as far as like M to S. But it does beat a ton of popular leads. Of course, you're going to run against Togekiss. A 74 rating, that means you die. So run against Togekiss. If you see Togekiss in the lead, switch. So you do beat a lot of... So it's kind of... It's really interesting, actually. So it looks like you do lose against all the other... You lose against... You lose against a lot of fighters. You lose against pseudo fighters too. So you lose against Machamp, you lose against Haxorus. You also lose against Gyarados, Garchomp. Unless it's... There's not a lot of Garchomps. If they're running double nuke, you know you won. If they're not running double nuke, then you should run. So, as you see here, Sirfetch'd is really interesting. Pretty interesting. Decent in the 2 shield. Wins a lot of relevant matchups, especially against those steel ones. Mainly Metagross and Magnezone. It's like a poor man's Haxorus. Well, not really poor man's Haxorus. Haxorus does lose against ice types, but you beat Glaceon, which you don't see a lot of, and you beat Mamoswine. So it's able to. It's essentially it's like Haxorus, in a sense. It's a Haxorus with stab. I guess that's the way I could put it. And it looks like there's no real difference between using the movesets. It looks like you really do want... You want Leaf Blade, of course. It looks like without Leaf Blade, you could still beat Swampert, but that just means it's more bait dependent. You get Swampert Leaf versus a Sirfetch'd. Here's what happens. Sirfetch'd can go just straight Leaf Blade. The 1 shield things might be different, so let's take a look here. We're going to switch to the 1 shield. We hit the enter button, and we get... You actually pick up the Conkeldurr matchup, so that's good. You actually beat one of Pseudo Fighter. You can pick up Garchomp if it's Earthquake again. Like I said, if it's Sand Tomb, you want to get out of there. So you beat Conkeldurr. You're going to beat Glaceon, of course. You beat Gyarados with a Brave Bird version? What? Nani? So it looks like if you burb... Is it because of burb? Okay, so you bait and then you burb. Okay, so that's not really super reliable, so I want to do it. Looks like Brave Bird can pick up the Gyarados matchup. You beat Magnezone. You beat Mamoswine. It looks like you beat M to S, basically. You lose against Togekiss. So it does have some use. In the ones, it looks like you do pick up Conkeldurr. But that's really interesting. You're still going to lose against Dragonite, etc. So if you do see Dragonite, run. In the zeros, that's the ones. And now here's the zeros. Switch to zeros. We hit battle. You hit battle, and what do we get? We get... You still beat Conkeldurr in the zeros, but it looks like you do need like a nuke move. If you don't have close combat or Brave Bird, it looks like you can't beat Conkeldurr. You beat Glaceon. In the zeros, you will beat Haxorus now, but you lose against Magnezone. I think this is what's critical. You're going to lose against both Magnezone and Metagross in the closer. That's huge. So Sirfetch'd, I would say, would be best used as a lead or a switch, or like you just get it out the... Tear through what you're weak against, and then, or like what you're strong against, and then leave in the back. Because like I said, you will get yeeted by Magnezone, and Metagross does beat you. I think its wild charge just does too much. With its stat product, it's really bad. As you see, your wild charge does 104 damage. So one wild charge plus a little bit of extra damage will take out Sirfetch'd. So you want to get out of there if you see a Magna Zone. Now, up shields, we might change a little bit of things with Sirfetch'd. Anything up shields is really strong. Hello. So it looks like up shield, with a shield, this is the 1-0s, you beat everything but Togekiss, Gengar, and Dragonite. And Shadow Gardevoir and Gengar. So these, you won't see Shadow Gardevoir. So it looks like Dragonite and Togekiss are the two things you have to watch out for. Other than that, you beat the rest of the meta. Now with 2 shields, I think that changes. With 2 shields, you lose only against Charmers. So with shield advantage, it could be really interesting as long as you keep shields. However, in the 2-1s, let's see what the 2-1s bring. In the 2-1s, you lose against Dragonite, you lose against Gengar, you lose against Gyarados. So even with shield advantage, you'll lose against Gyarados, so just be careful. Other than that, it's very interesting. So Sirfetch'd, I'm kind of like, it's okay. I would say okay. In summary, Sirfetch'd for Master Premier, it's basically like Haxorus without Night Slash. Does that make sense? Close combat really gives you that extra oomph against some Pokemon, and Leaf Blade gives you a great bait move. However, the big issue is that losing vital matchups in the closer is kind of scary, because Metagross and Magna Zones are plentiful, and if you do see Togekiss, you have to run. There's no real exit out, like how you can like Hurricane with Dragonite and probably Dragon Breath down for the victory. That doesn't exist. But, however, in the 2-shield, you still win 73% of your matchups. So, like I said, in the lead, it can be good. But it's basically, it's like Haxorus. That loses to Haxorus in the 2-shield. In the 1-shield, Sirfetch'd in Master Premier is actually really good still. Over 70% of the matchups it wins. And I think its weakest is actually in the 0s, where it only gains at 75. But still, winning 75% of your 75% wins is still a lot. So, it's still really good. Sirfetch'd, I give it a 7 out of 10. The reason being is because you do see a lot of Togekisses running around, and it does lose against pseudo fighters unless it's certain scenarios. So you have to be very careful about using Sirfetch'd in Master Premier. It has a lot of use. The question is, like, it's not super overpowering. That's the problem. It's not like Metagross with a high stat product. It has a lot of coverage, but like I said, it's basically a Haxorus. Basically a Haxorus without Dragon Claw and with a more interesting moveset, and you actually get stat. But it does, if you compare, that's Sirfetch'd. So this is Sirfetch'd, and so let's just do a 2-shield real quick. But it's a better option for Haxorus in my opinion. Haxorus does cover a lot of them. Like I'd say it's either or. Haxorus has a better stat product than Sirfetch'd, and it wins 87% in the 2-shield. So, in my opinion, Sirfetch'd is okay for Master Premier. It's not game-breaking. It can beat Metagross, and it can beat Swampert in the back. However, you have to keep in mind you will lose against things like Metagross or Magna Zone because of its like a glass cannon. Sirfetch'd cannot take that finishing move. If they land a Meteor Mash or Wild Charge lands, it's game over. So the key is to keep Sirfetch'd with shields, and it can be really good. But other than that, Haxorus, if you have a Haxorus already, it's a weaker version of Haxorus with a Leaf Blade and close combat. Anyways, that's the video, you guys. 7 out of 10 still really good. If you want to use that, consider it, but it's really expensive. Unless you have a perfect, it's probably not worth it. I don't even think level 41 changes much. So, before I end the video, we can do Sirfetch'd at level 41. See, does that flip anything? So we're going to do level 41. Here's the 2-shield with level 41. We generate the simulation with level 4. Wait, hold on, no. Level 41. There we go, maximize. And then hit the 2-shield. And it doesn't do much, so it doesn't pick up a lot. It doesn't do much at all. Even a level 41 doesn't really do anything really interesting for Sirfetch'd. There's just, yeah, but that's what it is. It's okay. I mean, yeah. Even a level 41 doesn't flip a lot. 0.5%. That's probably one matchup in a certain scenario. But that's the video, you guys. I hope you guys have a great day. I hope this helped you out in deciding whether or not if you want to use Sirfetch'd or not. Unfortunately, for Master Premier, it's not the greatest thing since sliced bread, but it can still be really good. I hope you guys have one built. Hopefully you guys have a perfect one. If you do want to use it, good luck. Make sure you know your matchups and be aware that you do lose against some steel types like Metagross and Magnezone that you would normally win against with shields in the zeros. You guys have a great day. I'll see you on the next video.